Compliance under control. Compliance under control. Audit ready every day. Know the path, know the way. Built to protect, built to stay. Compliance under control. Compliance under control. Compliance.
Hello, everyone. Hello and welcome. Welcome to today's session of Compliance Under Control. Let me see if I can hear myself because I am. Hello, everyone. Okay, great. Yeah, you can hear me. Fantastic. I have this new mic that I'm working with. And, sometimes what happens is that I'm on the other side, right? So I don't know if you're hearing me or not, but I want to welcome everyone to today's session of Compliance Under Control. We're talking about, I believe it's episode 7. So I have shared 7 different times, and I'm really excited to share today. So if you're chiming in from LinkedIn, and I'm really excited because I've expanded this viewing to also now YouTube. Okay, so you should be seeing me on LinkedIn, Facebook, and now my YouTube page. So welcome everyone. Welcome to today's session. And today we're going to be talking about you can't fix what you can't see. You can't fix what you can't see. That is huge. Okay. Why? Because, if you can't see it, how are you going to address it? Okay. So that's what we're going to talk about today. I'm going to talk to you also about how to access the executive compliance gap analysis, because I believe most, if not all, businesses have gaps. And most people are not aware that these gaps exist, right? Because up until now, really, most, especially small to medium sized businesses, never really did an assessment to see if their, SOPs, if their documents are updated. Most compliance documents and things of that nature sit on the shelf and just collect dust, right? That's what we've been doing all along. But now we have AI now, and a lot of businesses are starting to adopt AI. So what happens at that point? Where now people are becoming way more aware because, they're looking to adopt AI. So now the question is coming up, and people are becoming more aware of what needs to be done, because when you add AI to the mix of something that's already wrong, you just speed up confusion. That's really all what happens. Okay. So let's go ahead and get started. And once again, if you are seeing this on the replay, just say replay. Say replay and give us a shout out. So once again, happy to be here. Now, my name is Ronnette Turner-Corley, for those of you who do not know me and meeting me for the very first time. I am a corporate AI compliance architect and also a CPD, accredited certified AI consultant. I do speaking as well as training, and I work with organizations who already are using AI. So AI is already in their operation, but no one's really controlling it. Okay. So I design systems that create structure. I help them reduce risk and keep operations compliant. And I also make sure that they're audit ready at all times, because at any moment, the auditor can come walking through that door, and that can affect a business big time, either with fines, suspension. And there's been businesses who have been shut down. Why? Because they was not operating under the guidelines and the rules that their industry says they should be operating under. And here's the thing. Most small to medium sized businesses do not have a compliance officer. I know I'm here in California. And in California, a full-time compliance officer is salary is about $160,000 a year before benefits. Okay. I mean, really think about a small business today that's operating, especially in this economy, in this environment, who really can afford that or afford to pay someone that, right? So with that being said, even though they don't have one, They're still required to operate as though they do. Okay. But guess what? Who's checking that information? Right? Because most business owners are running the day to day and wearing all these hats. The last thing on their mind is compliance until something happens. Okay. So that's what I do. And I don't just show businesses how to use AI, I help them control it. Okay. Now let's get into the information here. Here's what, let me see if I can make this full screen because I can't see. Let's see here. I still can't see. All right. Hold on. I was trying to maximize my screen, but I don't want to maximize it to where you can't see me. Okay. I think that's working. Yeah. Well, let me ask you a question. If an auditor walked in, yeah, I think I just eliminated myself and I want you to be able to see me as well, right? And I think that's important. Okay. Let me make sure. There we go. Maybe I'll just move myself over here so you can see my screen my slides, because I can't seem to read them. Okay. So if an auditor walked in tomorrow, think about it. If an auditor walked in your business tomorrow, would you know where the biggest compliance risks are? I mean, think about them walking in randomly right now while I'm talking. What policies are outdated? Whether the documentation is complete? Would you know that? And how about the employees using AI? Do you know if they're using them responsibly or if they more than likely are just, having AI, let's say Chat GPT, which is the most common one today, on their phone and asking questions that are related to your business, getting an answer, and then there's no oversight. So just taking that answer on truth. And I don't know about you, but if you look down at the bottom today in Chat GPT, it says it gives a disclaimer that Chat may answer wrong, right? But no one pays attention to that because Chat has a way of sounding very intelligent and it responds intelligently. But that doesn't make the information right. Who's checking it? And then who's accountable when something goes wrong? I can tell you this. The regulators are not going to say, oh, your employee was responsible. It's always going to fall on the business owner all the time. Why? Because you are the one that's leading the ship. Okay. You are the captain of that organization. So that's very important to know that information. Now, most organizations aren't non-compliant on purpose. I don't think anyone wakes up and say, I'm just going to choose to be out of compliance, right? No one does that. But the reality is that the gaps happen little by little. Why? Because first you have a missing document, and then you have an outdated policy, and maybe an undocumented process. How many of you have SOPs, that standard operating procedures, that are written out that everybody follows? Okay. A responsibility never clearly assigned. How many of you have people in your organization that are doing jobs that doesn't fit their job description? Okay. And it's not in the policy and procedures. So what happened, these small gaps end up becoming big gaps over time because this is all information that goes unnoticed and missed. Now, me talking right now may not seem like a big problem. I'll tell you, it becomes a big problem when it's a big problem. And see, I am here because I come on here every Thursday at noon Pacific Standard Time. Why? Because my job is to just make you aware and to be more proactive instead of being reactive. Most businesses, I have a colleague of mine, and she also does AI infrastructure for businesses like myself. She builds compliance infrastructure to help businesses stay compliant and audit ready at all times. And she was speaking to someone in her prospective field. They got a chance to witness her compliance agent, the AI compliance agent that she built. And you know what their response was? They said, if I had this, I would still be in business. They were no longer in business. Now, I don't know all the determining factors of why they're not in business, but they felt like if they had that one compliance infrastructure that she had built specifically for that industry, they would still be in business. So this is a conversation definitely worth having. And if you are in a highly regulated industry, I am talking to you. I'm talking to you. And today I'm going to share with you how having an executive compliance gap analysis opens the eyes to everything. Because just like the title of this conversation is, you can't fix what you can't see. If you can't see it, you can't fix it. So it's my job to help you pull back the layers. That's what I do. Okay. And helping you as an AI compliance architect and as a consultant. The biggest risk is what leadership can't see, it says here. Organizations often believe they're compliant until they discover hidden gaps. And you really can't discover hidden gaps by your natural eye, right? Because once the gaps are there and they start to increase and things happen and your workflow starts to, you start to have more gaps in your workflow. It's really hard at that point to pinpoint with a natural eye. You need a process to now start to pull back those layers to see where the gaps are, where they started, and how to take a different direction in terms of fixing and closing that hole. Organizations, it says here, without visibility, leadership is making decisions with incomplete information. That is so true. Inconsistent procedures, unapproved AI usage. That is a big one today. Why? Because AI is a shiny object that people, it's interesting because people believe I think this is just common practice in today's marketplace. People believe because I had a business owner tell me, oh, I use AI all the time. And I said, okay, great. I'm glad you do. I'm sure. And the way he sounded, he was so excited. Why? Because people never had access to this type of information where you can literally give information to a artificial brain and then it spits back information to you that sounds pretty good, right? Or you can even talk to it. But here's what I want you to know. AI is general. When you ask AI a question, most people use AI today like Google. They give it some information and all it does, it scrapes the good, the bad, and the ugly out in the entire, universe on the internet. And it comes back and brings all this like a gumbo, right? And it sorts it out and it gives you a general output. But that doesn't mean it's compliant for your specific industry that you're in. It just gave you a generalized answer that it will give anybody. So when he said that, I knew, number one, I just had, I had empathy for him because I knew he was just doing what everybody else does. And once again, it's not a problem until it's a problem. And he's in a highly regulated industry too. But sometimes you just have to let people be where they are because all you can do is what you can do. So my job today is just to open your mind and make you aware that if you're doing these things, if you're using AI, there's a way to use it. But first and foremost, you want to make sure that you uncover what's going on and you have to slow down before you speed up because most people just get another AI tool and all they do is speed up confusion. That's all they do. Now you make things even worse. Okay. So technology doesn't solve invisible problems. It really doesn't. It doesn't solve invisible problems. In order for the problem to be solved, it has to be recognized and has to be put up front that it's a problem, right? You have to understand there's a problem here before you can solve it, right? So many organizations are investing in AI automation, software, all these digital tools before really understanding whether their processes are ready. Have you ever heard of AI readiness? Most people never go through a process with a professional of determining, hey, listen, is my business actually ready for AI? And if so, where? Right? Where is it ready in my business model? Where is it ready, and where can I apply it so that I can remain compliant and it'll help me scale? Because when done correctly, it can help you outperform your competitor. But if done without certain things in place, it can help you get into a lot of trouble. This is not to scare you, but this is fact. You can look it up, right? It's fact. So here's the hard truth: technology accelerates existing processes, but if the process is broken, it simply fails faster. That's what it does, speeds up chaos. Okay. Now, this is what I want to share with you today. I'm going to introduce you to what I call an executive compliance gap analysis by Essenarcy AI Solutions. It's a structured assessment where we go inside of your business and identify these gaps before they become issues. And there have been, these questions and the process that we go through is so deep that oftentimes the business owner comes back like, whoa, I didn't even know that was something that I should be practicing. Yes. But here's what I want you to know. Just because you don't know doesn't get you off the hook, right? Ignorance does not get you off the hook. But this is what a paid compliance officer, that's the job of a compliance officer. But once again, like I said, most small to medium-sized businesses today cannot afford a compliance officer. It can't. On payroll, it can't. And stay in business with someone that's making close to $200,000 a year, they can't stay in business and have a compliance officer. But just because they don't have one, they still have to operate as they do. So what's the next best thing? Now we have AI, but AI governed and have guardrails to perform in the right way. See, my AI, I have a leash on my AI. It knows what it can and cannot say, and it is customized to my processes. And I do the same thing for my clients. So it doesn't run off and say some things it shouldn't say. It is very much customized to perform exactly. Because here's the thing that I want you to know. AI should not be leading us. I believe in human-centered AI, right? So AI should not be leading us. We should be leading AI. It's a perfect business partner, providing you understand that you're the leader. It's not. Okay. And there's a way to set that up. Now, let's talk about this. What do we assess? Compliance documentation. We make sure your documentation is compliant according to the rules and legalese and the regulations that you are under in your profession, in your business. Okay, because every business is different and have different guidelines to follow. A health business is different from a legal business that's different from a transportation business, right? It's not one whole melting pot. Everyone has different rules and regulations to follow and guidelines. We assess governance. Okay, governance basically is just that, who's controlling it, who's running the play, what is AI doing in your business, who's responsible, all those different questions, right? So we assess the governance of what's happening, your policies and procedures, making sure that not only updated, making sure they continue to be updated, but we assess where you are. That's where you want to know right now. Where am I? And most people are operating in the dark. And today, with all the resources, that's by choice. That's by choice. It's too many resources out there for someone to be operating in the dark. How about operational risk? We assess where you are operationally and AI readiness. If you're ready for AI, and let's say you are, where and how do we implement it with full governance and compliance so that AI can be an added tool and resource that helps you grow and expand with confidence, but not something that causes harm to your business. Okay, so that's what we assess. Now, what I want to do is take you and share with you what the gap analysis give you an idea of what I'm talking about and what it looks like. We get very deep. Now, this is an analysis that takes anywhere about 30 minutes to an hour to do. So I'm not going to go deep into this, but I'm going to give you enough information so you can see really how deep it goes. When I tell you, you'll come back with a clear path, and most of the time your eyebrows will raise because you will not believe, oh my God, this is what my business looks like. Why? Because this compliance analysis is based on law, is based on policies, is based on, everything that happens in a person's industry and nothing else. So it's black and white, right? So with that being said, when we do the full analysis, there may be some things you didn't even know that you were supposed to be following that now comes up, right? And so I love this. Why? Because when you go to a doctor, what does a doctor say? You go to a doctor and say, "Hey, doctor, I have my back has been hurting. I don't know why it's hurting, but it's been hurting for a couple of weeks, and I can't figure out why." And the doctor touch you, and he say, "Ah." He doesn't say take some Tylenol and call me, or she doesn't say take some Tylenol, take some Motrin and call me. What does she do? We need to do an X-ray. Why? We need to determine what a problem is. Otherwise, we don't know how serious it is or where the problem even lies. It may not even be your back. It may be maybe you're overweight and your stomach is heavy, causing issues in your back. You don't know what it is. That's why they have to do a full diagnosis. Why do we do that when it comes to health? But when we look at our finances, when we look at our business model, when we look at things going on in our business, we remain in the dark. Only to later, it becomes a huge problem. So let me share with you what this looks like. So I'm going to put in XYZ company, okay? Just as an example. Now you see here, we have all these different industries. I'm talking from accounting and taxes. I mean, every industry you can think of is in our information here, okay? I mean, why? Because these are all regulated, highly regulated industries, okay? So let's just say I'm just going to push real estate. I can do anything. This is just an example. City. It says e.g. I'm going to put Los Angeles just because it has it here. United States is the country. How many employees do we have? I'm going to say, 20 employees. And then it says add one or more states, right? And then here, even it asks us some more things. Does your brokerage have W-2 employees? Do you hold earnest money, maintain any trust escrow accounts? So you can start putting the different things in here in reference to your industry. Now, if I change the industry, watch this. Let's do pest control. See, that goes away, right? Because that has nothing to do with what I just said for real estate. How about manufacturing? Okay, so that's even different. But real estate gave us, ask additional questions. Let's go K through 12 education. Now, I'm just going to go here. I'm going to stop there because I just want to show you how it changes depending on the industry. Now, I'm going to put, it says add one or more. So I can add any state. I'm going to do California, right? And then let's say I'm also, let's say the school's in California. I'm not going to make this difficult. This is just an example to show you how it works. Then I'm going to go next. Now, I want you to see all the frameworks here from the state education code, all these different things. Now, think about this: school safety laws, attendance, OSHA, EEOC, which is equal employment opportunity. I mean, all these different things that maybe you didn't even know you needed. FERPA. So all of the information is here. Now, let me open up one. This is just one. Now, this is how detailed this gap analysis is. And you're going to rate yourself, and we help you go through this. So 0 is I don't have it in place at all. NA means it doesn't apply to me. 0 is I don't have it in place at all. 1 is emerging. 2 is established. And 3 is mature. So we've been at that, right? Now, are student records stored where unauthorized people cannot see them? You have to answer that. Is a written FERPA policy distributed annually to students and parents? Got to answer that. Are directory information opt-out forms collected and honored? Now you have to wonder, like, really? That's like something I'm supposed to have in place? So as you can see, this is very deep for this particular industry. Okay. Now, if I go back, let me see if I go back here. Let's say I wanted to change that and I wanted to have healthcare, medical, right? Watch how these change. You got HIPAA, high tech, OSHA, right? All these FDA, state board for California, private state policy, all these change. Why? Because it depends on the actual industry. So as you can see, it's extremely comprehensive. We're not playing here. We're not playing here. We need to deep dive and find out where you are in your process and do a gap analysis. I mean, I hope you pass with flying colors. But so far, the ones we've seen, people come back absolutely shocked. And they're so grateful that they got a chance to do the analysis, because now, you know that old saying, if you know better, you do better. Or you can do nothing, but at least you're aware. At the end of the day, you're aware, right? That's what it's about, right? So that's the gap analysis and gives you a taste of what we would go through with you step by step. Now, your assessment includes compliance documentation review, an AI governance and acceptable use review, policy, procedure, and workflow evaluation, operational risk, audit readiness analysis, making sure you're audit ready at all times, and executive findings and prioritized recommendations. That's what the assessment will include in a very professional PDF a report that comes in a PDF, professionally done, that explains everything. You'll see it here. You'll receive the executive compliance gap analysis report, current state assessment, risk priorities, key findings, areas requiring immediate attention, okay, and strategic recommendations. Now, here's the thing. Once again, once you know better, you can do better. Because once again, like the title of this conversation is, you cannot fix what you don't know, what's hidden. You can't fix it, right? But once we expose it, now you have a roadmap. Now you have clarity to knowing what you need to do to go to the next step. And you also know, I may want to slow down before I speed up, because if I speed up and I have all these issues going in, you know what's going to happen? AI is going to speed up that confusion into your entire business. This is a conversation we should be having, ladies and gents. So, why organizations invest? Once again, you can't fix what you haven't identified. So before you can move forward, before implementing AI, before updating policies, preparing for audit, or expanding operations, you need clarity. Not assumptions, not guesswork, You need a clarity. You need a clear picture. Leadership deserves a clear picture of where the organization stands today. And that's being proactive and not reactive. Once again, someone walks in your organization, and I will tell you this, and I'm not in a position, or, I don't like to have talks where I feel like, it's a scare tactic. I'm just revealing what we're seeing and what we haven't even begun to see. Because, see, even though AI is very loud right now, most businesses still haven't adopted it. They're still trying to figure out why or how, right? However, this is a conversation that we need to have, because now adoption becomes much easier, okay, and less frightening. Some organizations haven't adopted it because they're scared of it. And let me tell you this, AI is not here to take over your job. It's not here to take over your business. It's here to be controlled by humans to assist you in saving more money and making more money. That's all it's about. And more time. And giving your time back, if done correctly. Now, here's the value when you do a executive compliance gap analysis. You get greater visibility. You can see into your business much clearer. You can sleep at night. We've had people to tell us that, right? Oh my God, I stay up all night because whether they're exaggerating or not, but you never know really what a most business owners that are small to medium-sized business owners, they never take off. And I don't mean physically, I mean mentally, because these are the things on their mind. A lot of these business owners have mortgaged their homes, have took out big loans, have put everything on the line for their dreams and goals. So it's not that it gotta work, right? And so they stay up a lot, but AI used correctly and governed and used the right way with guardrails can change the game. But you want to speak to someone, a professional like myself, that does this on a regular basis, goes into business, making sure that these things are in place. Okay. And who's been trained to be able to do that. It'll help you make better decisions by having this gap analysis. Stronger governance, reduce operational risk, and greater audit readiness. I mean, today, when you have this in place, if an auditor were to walk in, not only do you feel comfortable, you kind of got your chest stuck out, right? Because hey, I got my stuff together. You only get nervous when you don't know what you don't know. But wouldn't it be nice to feel a certain way, knowing that everything is going well in my business because I have done the work to determine that? That's what we're talking about. Now, as we start to wrap up, the executive perspective, a compliance gap analysis isn't about finding fault. It's about finding and creating clarity. That's all it is. It's not to say, oh no, you're not doing this right. You're not doing this right. You need to stop doing that. No, it's to say, okay, wait, let's back up. We were doing it this way, but now we're going to, reduce this unnecessary risk, and we're going to prioritize, and we're going to improve from here. Okay. And we know you're running a business every single day. And we know you're out there doing what you do, making sure everything stays afloat, being everything to your business, from the accounting to running day-to-day operations. We know that, right? So it's not to point fingers. It's really to grab everything, by the tail and say, okay, let's stop what we're doing right now. Let's analyze where we are. And now let's move better in a different direction. That's all it is. So don't be scared of it. It's actually the best way for you to know what's going on in your organization, because you can't fix what you can't see. You can't fix what you can't see. Now, every organization has gaps. Okay. So here's the question. Will you identify them before someone else does? You don't want to wait until someone comes out and identifies the gaps, as, like a regulator walks in and say, hey, we're missing this, this, and that. And it now costs you even more money, right? No, You want to create clarity and fix these gaps prior to someone walking in forcing you to do it, because that now becomes costly. So you want to fix it before an auditor does, before a regulator does, before a customer loses confidence, and before a preventable issue becomes costly. It is preventable, but you have to take a look into your organization to find out where the gaps are. Now, here's what an executive compliance gap analysis will do. It will create compliance, governance, will help, get your documentation together, align structure, your workflows together, your SOPs. It will reduce operational risk, and AI readiness will be there, okay, and know what you're ready for and where you are in your organization. So I encourage you to schedule your executive compliance gap analysis today with myself, okay? And building smarter organizations through AI governance, AI compliance, intelligent automation, and human-centered AI, that's what I do. Once again, human-centered AI. We control AI. AI does not control us. And the way we build our systems, we make sure guardrails are there. It's compliant for your organization and your industry. Governance is there. And everything's in place so that you can thrive and do it the right way. Right? So you'll see there up in the corner, it says scan to schedule. If you want to schedule a time to sit down with me, go ahead and schedule that consultation where we can actually take a risk assessment and look into your organization, and then do a schedule executive compliance gap analysis so that you can know fully what's going on in your organization, and you can walk away now knowing instead of guessing. And then where you go from there is on you. But at least you're aware of what's going on. And when you're aware and you discover and can see the gaps, now you can fix what's going on. Okay. So that is my talk. That is my time today. And, I pray you got something out of this, because my job every single week, and I come on every week, Thursday, 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. AI is such a loud conversation, but no one's talking about how to control it, right? No one's having that conversation. So I know this conversation is necessary. Why? Because we haven't even started to see the ramifications of what's happening or what's going to happen, because most people are adopting AI and they're not fully ready for it. They don't know what's going on in their organizations, and their employees are using it. And all these things are happening inside their organization and no one knows what's going on. So we haven't even begun to see what's going to happen. And we are going to have more people scrambling today than ever before. Why? Because not too many people are having these conversations. So I believe in responsible AI. I love AI, but I truly believe in responsible AI. And I know, used the right way, your business can thrive like no other. Believe me. So once again, my name is Ronnette Turner-Corley. I'm a CPD, accredited, certified AI consultant, and a corporate AI compliance architect, founder and CEO of Essenarcy AI Solutions. Go ahead and scan that today. Let's go ahead and get your executive compliance gap analysis today so that we can make sure you know where your gaps are, and then you have access to doing something about it. All right. Look forward to seeing you next week. Go ahead and make it a great week, the rest of the great week, right? And I look forward to seeing you next Thursday at 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Thank you so much, and bye for now.